There are stories that the world moves on from, stories that lose power over time. But there are also stories that refuse to fade, stories that grow heavier with every passing year, stories that raise more questions than answers, stories that linger even after everyone involved is gone. The story of Jeffrey Epstein belongs firmly in the second category. It is a story that started quietly in an ordinary neighborhood, grew into something massive and confusing, and eventually became one of the most discussed mysteries of modern times. It touches questions of influence, secrecy, power, connections, privilege, and the strange ways certain individuals move differently through the world. To understand how it all began, we must go back to a time when no one knew the name Jeffrey Epstein, to a childhood that looked normal, to a life that carried no signs of the future that awaited. Jeffrey Epstein was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. His family lived a regular working-class life. His mother worked at a school. His father worked for the city. They lived in a modest apartment, surrounded by families just like theirs. Epstein did not grow up around wealthy people, nor did he inherit any form of influence. Everything about his early life seemed ordinary. But there was one thing that set him apart: intelligence from a young age. Epstein showed an exceptional ability to understand complex mathematical ideas. Concepts many students found overwhelming came naturally to him. Teachers noticed his talent early. His ability to solve problems quickly earned him a reputation for brilliance. He skipped grades. He worked ahead of his peers. He had a sharp mind combined with quiet confidence. Epstein eventually attended university, but he never completed a full degree. Still, his intelligence and charm carried him into places that would normally require credentials he did not have. At the age of 21, he became a math teacher at a prestigious private school in Manhattan, a school known for educating children of powerful families. The fact that he was hired without a degree was unusual, but it also marked the beginning of his entrance into a world far beyond anything he had known growing up. Inside this school, Epstein discovered something more important than teaching: access. He met influential parents who worked in finance, government, business, real estate, and law. Epstein observed their lifestyles, their habits, and the way they interacted with the world. He learned how powerful circles operated. He studied people the same way he studied equations, carefully, strategically, and with keen awareness. Teaching was never his final goal. It was the doorway. By the mid-1970s, Epstein left education and stepped into the world of finance. He joined a well-known investment firm on Wall Street. Even though he had no formal degree, he quickly gained attention for his ability to analyze risk and understand markets. His rise in finance was fast, unusually fast, but then he left the firm under unclear circumstances involving a questionable financial action. What could have been a career-ending moment became a turning point. Epstein launched his own consulting firm, a quiet and mysterious company whose operations were not widely understood. The true turning point came when Epstein crossed paths with billionaire Leslie Wexner, the man behind major retail brands. For reasons that remain debated, Wexner placed extraordinary trust in Epstein. He gave him access to resources and authority rarely granted to anyone outside family. Epstein suddenly gained control over large financial assets, valuable properties, and enormous decision-making power. This relationship catapulted him into a new world. He bought a massive townhouse in Manhattan, one of the largest private homes in New York City. He acquired estates in Florida, ranch land, and a Caribbean location that would later become world-famous. Epstein flew on private aircraft, traveled internationally, met people from elite circles, and built an image of sophistication, intelligence, and wealth. He became a well-known figure among academics, scientists, business leaders, and philanthropists. He donated to institutions. He funded research. He met with professors, researchers, and innovators. Many described him as intellectually curious. He was fascinated by science, technology, psychology, and the future. He hosted gatherings that brought together influential minds from different fields. Gatherings where ideas flowed freely and connections were made. Into this world entered Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman with a powerful family background and access to international networks. She introduced Epstein to circles he wanted to enter. She organized events, managed his social life, and became central to how Epstein built and maintained his image. Together, they formed a partnership that blended luxury, exclusivity, and secrecy. Epstein's homes became meeting points for world travelers, business figures, academics, and people with influence across various sectors. His properties hosted dinners, discussions, and private events where complex topics were debated and new relationships were formed. But beneath the polished exterior, questions began to grow. How did Epstein build such a massive fortune? What exactly did his consulting firm do? Why did so many powerful individuals trust him so deeply? And how did he maintain these relationships for decades? By the early 2000s, suspicion began to rise. Reports appeared. Lawsuits emerged. Authorities began examining certain aspects of his private life. The world slowly realized that Epstein was surrounded by more complexity than anyone had imagined. In the mid-2000s, Epstein faced his first major legal battle. Investigations were launched. Statements were taken. Evidence was collected. The public started to see a different side of the man who had moved so effortlessly among global elites. Then came 2008. Epstein reached a legal agreement that remains one of the most debated in modern legal history. The arrangement significantly reduced the consequences he faced, limited further legal action, and protected certain individuals from broader investigation. Lawyers, reporters, and analysts questioned how such a deal could have been approved. The agreement signaled that there were forces at work behind the scenes, forces that kept Epstein's situation contained. After 2008, Epstein lived a quieter public life. He maintained his properties, traveled, and continued interacting with academics and business figures. But the silence did not last. In the late 2010s, investigative reporters revisited his past. They uncovered inconsistencies in earlier legal agreements and brought renewed attention to Epstein's activities. The pressure grew, and soon, new investigations were launched. In 2019, Epstein was arrested again on new charges. His properties were searched, documents were seized. His name returned to headlines around the world, sparking global discussion and intense scrutiny. Epstein awaited trial in a high-security detention facility. But before any trial could take place, before witnesses could speak, before evidence could be presented, Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell. The official explanation was self-inflicted death. But almost immediately, questions erupted worldwide. People asked why surveillance footage had issues, why guards failed to follow procedures, why certain logs were incomplete. Experts pointed out inconsistencies in the available information. Former officials spoke publicly about the unusual circumstances. The result was one of the most widespread debates of the decade. Some insisted it was a simple failure of the system. Others believed the situation was too irregular to accept at face value. Many argued that the timing raised more questions than answers. After Epstein's death, attention shifted toward the documents connected to the case. Some documents were released, but many remained sealed. Others were redacted to the point where entire sections were unreadable. Analysts noticed which names were visible, which were missing, and which details were withheld. People questioned why so much information was still hidden. Some cited legal reasons. Some mentioned privacy. Others believed deeper layers of influence were at play. This secrecy fueled speculation. What was inside the sealed documents? Why were certain pages missing or blacked out? Why did information remain restricted even years after Epstein's death? Even now, many believe the full truth may never be revealed. The Epstein case touches upon complex themes: wealth, influence, global networking, and the hidden structures that shape society. It raises questions about how people with high-level connections navigate the world differently, how certain individuals receive unusual treatment, how the legal system interacts with powerful figures, and how secrecy can persist even when the public demands answers. Epstein's network remains one of the most widely debated aspects of the story. How did he form such relationships? What did he offer people? Why were so many prominent individuals connected to him? Was he simply a skilled networker, or was there something more? Analysts have suggested many possibilities. Some believe he had a talent for making himself indispensable. Others believe he facilitated connections, between people who might not otherwise meet. Some think he positioned himself as a gatekeeper, someone who could open doors, provide introductions, and offer insights into different industries. Even after his death, the case continues to develop. New articles appear, new legal requests are filed, new reports emerge, portions of documents are unsealed, and yet the core of the story remains unclear. Will the world ever learn everything? Will every document be opened? Will every name be revealed? Will every unanswered question finally gain clarity? No one knows, but one thing is certain: the Epstein story refuses to disappear.